right, let's talk about something painful. You've survived the endless development cycles, you've fought off all that scope creep, and you finally shipped a beautiful product. You hit launch, and you wait, and nothing happens. Today, we're going to break down why something like 95% of new products fail. And here's the kicker. It has almost nothing to do with bad code.
So you press the button, you send out that big email blast, and you lean back totally ready to watch the revenue start rolling in. But what you actually get is just silence. The market just stares back with this complete crushing indifference. This is maybe one of the most painful experiences in building anything, the failed launch, the silent launch.
You check your analytics dashboard, and it's just a flat line, a big, fat 0. And here's the brutal truth, right? Your product isn't failing because the code is buggy or the idea is bad. It's failing because you're tripping over these invisible tripwires right at the finish line.
So here's the core problem. We treat launching a product like it's just a checklist, not a real strategy. We think, okay, press release, check. A few social media posts, check. We're done. But look, just sending emails into the void doesn't create demand. If your team isn't 100% aligned on the market problem you're actually solving, the launch is pretty much doomed from the very start.
This is a serious reality check. According to Harvard Business School, roughly 95% of new products fail. Let that sink in. 95%. That is not a typo. You're not just fighting the odds.
You're fighting in what is basically a statistical slaughterhouse. I mean, in consumer goods, 40% of products fail within just 2 years. And the tech sector? Oh, it's even more ruthless. This isn't about bad luck, you know? It's about a fundamentally broken process.
And here is where it gets really real. You might think, people are rejecting my product. They're not. The harder truth, the one that's tougher to swallow, is that they aren't paying any attention to you at all. To them, you're just invisible.
So why are you invisible? Well, because we drown our buyers in all this technical jargon and feature lists, right? We assume they care about our revolutionary architecture. But when you position a product with these generic, buzzwordy phrases, you instantly become background noise. You just get lost in what's called the sea of sameness.
And this quote just perfectly illustrates the consequence. When buyers genuinely can't tell the difference between your amazing tech and a competitor's, they do one of two things. Either they pick the cheapest one, forcing you into a race to the bottom you can't win, or they just get overwhelmed and walk away completely.
So how do we fix this whole mess? Well, we have to systematically dismantle the 4 barriers that are absolutely killing your launch. We're going to walk through each one. First, getting attention, then establishing your differentiation, building trust, and finally driving action.
All right, let's start with the first and, honestly, the most fundamental barrier. Nobody even notices you exist. The core mistake here is actually really simple. We talk about our product when we should be talking about their problem.
I love this example from VMware. Originally, they pitched their product as a tool to run 2 operating systems on one machine. You know what happened? The market completely ignored them. Crickets. But when they shifted the entire conversation to the expensive, unavoidable problem of underused servers, their adoption just skyrocketed. They went from talking about what it does to why it matters. Huge difference.
Okay, so you did it. You grabbed their attention by focusing on their problem. Awesome. But now you hit the second barrier. You sound exactly like everyone else. The key here is not to be a little bit better, but to be fundamentally different.
Look, you don't win by just adding one more feature than the competition. You win by framing the whole problem in a new way. Back in the 1960s, Volvo knew they couldn't possibly beat Ford on speed or style. So they just claimed an entirely new category, the safe car. And they've pretty much owned that niche for decades.
So here's a direct challenge for you right now. Can you explain the exact value of your product in 30 seconds without saying, well, we're like competitor X, but better? Because if you have to name drop your competitor just to explain your own existence, you don't really have a product position, you just have a reaction.
So you've nailed the first 2 barriers. People notice you and they see that you're different. But now you face a new wall, buyer skepticism. Buyers have been burned by bad software and broken promises before, and they just don't trust you, at least not yet. You get past this hurdle by building trust, and you do that by teaching. The absolute fastest way to earn credibility is to prove you understand their problem better than anyone else, maybe even better than they do. When VMware's Diane Green was starting out, she didn't pitch her product, she educated IT leaders on the invisible problem of server utilization.
You guide them. You don't just sell to them. And that brings us to the final barrier. You've got their attention, you're different, and they even trust you. But your sales funnel is still stuck. People aren't moving forward. Why?
It's because you're asking for way too much, way too soon. Asking a brand new prospect to book a 45-minute demo for a product they barely understand? It's exactly like asking for marriage on the first date. It's a huge commitment with a ton of friction.
You clear this final barrier by making that first step incredibly, ridiculously easy. Ditch that heavy book a demo call to action right away. Offer a soft start instead. Let them download an ebook, use a cool interactive calculator, or watch a short explainer video. Give them value first, reduce that friction, and let them engage on their own terms.
So here's your final reality check. Take a hard look at your own launch plan. Are you optimizing for a massive press release that's going to look great on your LinkedIn profile? Or are you actually designing a pathway for users to effortlessly solve a real bleeding neck problem? Because let's be honest, vanity metrics don't pay the server bills.
So you see, this all comes together in a really clear formula. A sharp focus on the problem, you combine that with unique differentiation, you build trust by teaching, and you provide a super low friction entry point. That right there, that is the recipe for a successful launch.
To wrap this all up, if you really want to disrupt the market, you have to flip your messaging. Make it about their problem, not your product. You have to claim your unique differentiation, educate your market relentlessly, and destroy every single ounce of friction that prevents them from taking that first tiny step.
And that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. What is the most disastrous, cringeworthy product launch you have ever witnessed? I would absolutely love to hear your stories. For now, keep building.